Welcome back for video number 8. We're going to be talking about the development of baseball players for life. Realize that the activity of being involved in baseball includes all kinds of different other opportunities and development within our youth. Uh, Real quick, just a prerequisite. Video number 9 is going to be about maintenance, both equipment and maintenance, baseball field and maintenance, player maintenance. So it's going to be a fairly informational video for any of you parents or coaches or individuals involved with baseball. Just a checklist of things that you can learn within maintenance that might not be shared on any other platform. For today, video number 8, we're going to talk about the development. Now, on the left-hand side, these are some of the things that the individual baseball player is going to learn how to deal with mentally. Okay, so the mentality of a baseball player and what they're experiencing within the game can lead into being a better adult. So it's something that needs to be developed through their entire life experience, not only on the ball field, but also at home. So within discussions around the dinner table or after the games or within transporting between the different game locations, having the discussions with your players about their mentality, their expectations is very important. That will teach them to be prepared for other job opportunities later in life. And we'll get to that side of the board in just a moment. Mentality is also going to allow players to learn how to control their emotions. Many younger individuals are very hyper. They don't necessarily have the ability to control that. They have ants in their pants. Through the experience in baseball, they're going to learn at what times they should be respectful, be focused in on what they're supposed to be doing during the game. That all adds to what they are going to need to be required as an adult. So the development continues throughout the entire process, moving up through the ranks of baseball. Challenges increase, responsibilities increase. All of that is to control their emotions through all those steps. Realize that multiple speed bumps or challenges are going to be faced during the experience from each individual player, and it's the responsibility of parents, umpires, and coaches to realize the mentality of their players and help them develop. They also learn how to deal with loss, because majority of the time you can't win all the time. With more practices actually outnumbering the amount of ball games they're going to be in, losses even come from peer pressure. Whether or not they are the best player on the team or if they're liked by the entire team, loss is a reality within the experience of playing baseball. Again, all of that needs to be discussed between all the parties involved to be able to adapt to loss. If you lose, you get back up and you keep going. Don't concentrate or allow that loss to dictate the rest of your life. Teamwork. Being a baseball player, you learn how to be part of the team. That is something very important no matter what sport you're in, to the performance on the ball field or on the track, you name it. Being part of the team is being part of the society and what you can contribute, understanding the ups and downs, so on and so forth, the losses and wins, how that can appeal to the ability for you to work in a team environment. Physical fitness. Obviously, being an athlete or being a baseball player requires to be physical. It's not as physical as maybe, say, a direct contact sport like football, but there are collisions during the play of the baseball, whether it's with a base player or even a part of the field. Say an outfield fly is heading towards the outfield fence, players can run in contact and head on with the baseball fence itself. So realize physical fitness is very important. Last one on the side is just the awareness. Again, that kind of goes back to the mentality of our baseball players. Being aware of their actual responsibilities, being aware of where they're at, whether they're at practice or at the game, carrying themselves in the most professional manner to represent their team. Because once again, one bad apple, one mishap can put a really bad reputation on the entire team, even if it only involves one individual. Again, going back to the adage, parents, there's a reason why there's a fence between the viewing areas and the ball diamond. Even if you're complaining about the umpires or players from the other side of the team, they can hear that. And it's not showing very much professionalism and team effort. As a parent, you are part of the team, but there's a differentiation between what happens on the field and what happens when your player comes off. Now, included with the development for life, realize that playing baseball is not only about the players carrying out the game, whether it's from the batting position or a defensive position on the field. Players can also experience the baseball game from on the bench in the dugouts. Is your player just sitting there listening to whatever music might be playing, or what the announcer is saying, or the actions of what's going on in the field? Are they also keeping track of maybe some of the statistics? Everybody hears about the game changer applications that are being used at some of the higher levels of play. Are players aware of how those statistics are being kept? Are they aware of the situation, what inning they're in? Or are they too busy in the dugout screwing around or chanting off, here, batter, 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 swing? Do they realize when to be quiet, when to be loud for the benefit of their team? That's an opportunity for them to learn other job responsibilities that will affect them later in life. So developing those skills, even when they're not on the field, will work out to where some point within their lives they're going to take into account what they've learned playing baseball. That learns into other medical fields, such as therapy. Again, each player is responsible for their physical fitness within their diet, and even their mentality as a player in a baseball field. They could learn later in life the type of jobs that revolve around therapy. A physical therapist, let's say, or a psychologist working with individuals working through losses, or trying to control their emotions. That is something that is preparing them for later development within life. It opens the door to other opportunities in the field of therapy. Broadcasting, folks. Again, as the players are sitting there, are they vocally able to keep track of what's going on, what the broadcasters or the announcers or coaches are doing on the field? Are they getting stage fright? Are they afraid to come out of the cocoon and actually voice their opinions or support their team? Allowing them to talk and share their information, whatever their concern is preparing them to become more vocal. With our recent loss of Mr. Baseball and Bob Uecker, I can honestly say that I'm spoiled to have a child that is very vocal. He's not afraid to come out and show his excitement. He's also, you could sit him right behind a microphone and he could call out professional games. He has the memory to remember jersey numbers, their last names, how it's pronounced, the statistics of their play. So if he's even at home watching football or hockey, he could call the game. If you were to turn the volume off on the game, he could jump in and become the announcer. Okay, it's preparing him, even if he is not successful as a pro baseball player, it's developing him to other job opportunities later in life. Again, using Bob Uecker as an example. He started out as a Major League Baseball player, and his performance only lasted approximately 4 years before his professional career ended. That turned into a 30-year career as one of the best baseball broadcasters in the history of baseball. So again, I announced in previous videos or recommended in previous videos, teaching players the history of baseball. Realize that Bob Uecker is a very good example of showing players that it's not only about the performance on the field, it's what it could turn into later in life. Even modern day baseball players, their professional career has been changed from 30 years and down maybe to about 10 years. What can they do after they've attained that level of play, and what they can do later in life, and how it's going to impact them towards their quality of life. Development for their life. Management. Obviously, to carry out the game of baseball, there's all kinds of management requirements. Whether it be coaching to umpiring, even players in the dugouts. How are they managing their abilities to control their emotions? How are they being responsible with their equipment? Are they helping other players on the team? They can even be members of management when they are just a player in the dugout. Are they able to manage a player that might be having a hard time? Can they give them little pointers and saying, oh, okay, I noticed you did this. Look at this guy. He's doing a little bit different and he's successful. That's a management position, and that's something that carries through even to an adulthood for members that are interested in filling management positions. Even as a homemaker, you might be responsible for managing the family's finances. So again, developing our youth to become adults, that all occurs within the game of baseball. Design. Wow. Baseball opens the door to all kinds of jobs related to the design industry, whether it's to the baseball helmet design for most safety and comfortable, to the construction and profile of sunglasses, to the construction of baseball gloves, what fits more, what type of materials. Design is all over the game of baseball. Okay, so it really starts to prepare our players. So it's not just about their performance, swinging the bat or catching a ball, even the design of the baseball diamond itself. Why is the outfield fence for younger ages at 200 feet? Why does first base have a double wide base and one side is outside of the foul line and the other portion is on the inside? That's all within the design of the game of baseball. It is something that players can learn pre-season. Again, that 4 weeks teaching the history of baseball, the rules and regulations, why the design of the baseball field is there, is all something that can be covered in the classroom before a player ever picks up a baseball bat or a ball glove. Engineering. Again, it goes kind of hand in hand with design. Engineering the equipment to provide the best amount of performance. The custom product industry is extremely successful. Okay, look at your typical baseball glove that you can purchase at, say, Dunham's or a Dick's Sporting Gloves. Okay, anywhere from that $20 to $500. You start getting into custom design stuff, whether it's gloves, baseball bats, and so on and so forth. There's a financial future in that if your child is interested in the engineering. There's a lot of engineering that takes place even within the audio speaker type systems at baseball fields or within the lighting projects. They could be electrical engineers if they understand how the lights are turned on. Okay, so again, involving the players with as much information that it takes to actually carry out a ball game, that will lead into the development later in life. Law enforcement. Okay, folks, I know this might sound a little strange, but teaching our kids how to follow the rules of the baseball game can add in and lead to a future in law enforcement. If they want to be an umpire, again, controlling the game, calling the game as fair as they possibly can, is something they can carry into the field of law enforcement. Okay, again, so development of players for life can evolve into even becoming a law enforcement officer, detective, so on and so forth. All of that can be experienced within the game of baseball. Groundskeeping. Okay, it takes maintenance on the actual ball diamond, whether the grass is green or if it's dead. The construction of the infield, whether it's a raised mound. Once again, how many of you know why the actual baseball mound is raised? And what the limitation is of how high the baseball mound can be. Again, within the history of baseball and the rules and regulations, you will find out at what time within the history of baseball that was designated. That's also included within groundskeeping. If it rains out and all of your infield gravel washes to the outfield and you constantly have to replace that, it becomes fairly expensive. That comes in within the maintenance and groundskeeping. So the guys that you see out there fixing the divots during the game, they have degrees within actual groundskeeping. They're trained and paid to do that job. So even though they're not the professional ball players that might be performing at the elite levels, they have job opportunities they probably learned at a younger age being involved with the game of baseball. Finance. Okay, this goes for everybody, whether that's the ball player, coaches, parents, umpires, anybody involved with the carrying out the game of baseball. You'll learn fairly fast how to be accountable with money. Paying $500 for a baseball bat and only having a $2 swing, it's a financial responsibility. With the previous video, number 7, going over safety equipment, you've seen the long list of equipment that as you accelerate in your experience of baseball at the different levels, the more equipment you have to buy, the more expensive it gets. Now that doesn't even cover the insurance. So if you want to start your own baseball organization, are you able to understand how much insurance it requires to carry out a ball game? Liability insurance is extremely expensive. Okay, that will lead into other job opportunities for baseball players. Scouting. Okay, say that you are not necessarily the best baseball player on the team, but you are able to recognize who is good. That could lead to a career as being a scout. So whether that's for high schools, colleges, or Major League Baseball teams, that is an actual job. Okay, so and it does pay fairly well. Are you able to observe baseball players, their mentality, their statistical performances, the amount of heart that they have to play the game? You would make an excellent scout. And that is taught even by individuals sitting on the bench during a baseball game. Are they able to watch the opponents and say, wow, I can respect that player is very good? They might not even know their name, okay, or be acquainted with them, but they can identify which players are good. That might lead, and that experience might lead them and teach them throughout their experience within baseball, starting from T-ball all the way up through high school, will prepare them to be very good scouts. They will be able to identify talent where it is. Now this one is going to be a little bit more a dilemma. It's going to be your own personal preference. And this would also fit the other descriptions of job opportunities out there. For baseball players, many of our youth are interested in collecting baseball cards or sports cards, trading cards. Realize that there's actually a job opportunity in trading cards. Whether they're getting into actually doing the trading and the collecting to actually turning it into a business. Collector cards is a very successful business. There are individuals out there buying multi-million-dollar baseball cards. Okay, so again, being part of the baseball industry includes everything on this list, including the collection of baseball cards. Are your players able to identify that the cards, whatever they might find or unpack from their wax packs or from their bricks, are the cards valuable on the open market? Can they transfer that into a profit margin? Or is it just about collecting their favorite player or favorite team? Again, through my previous advice, that 4 weeks leading up to the season, even using baseball cards to keep the interest of the players, giving them cards of the older players. This last year, that was something that I introduced with a new league that I was coaching. The players were in that 6 to 8 year old level. None of them knew any of the historical players unless they'd watch, say, movies like Sandlot or Field of Dreams. They didn't realize the history of players that came before us. So I went out and got printed cards of older players. I found a series of nothing but Babe Ruth, the Chicago White Sox from 1919, which the movie of the Field of Dreams is around, even to the point where I took players in our league to the Field of Dreams. Okay, that's where I bought this hat, to teach them the history. And at that point, it was a challenge for the players to collect the baseball cards depicting those players. It taught them the history. It taught them the value of the cards, how to maintain the cards within their protectors. And also the cut of the cards. Everybody that collects cards know that there are grading scales, whether it's the card being cut clean, the edges are smooth, they're not being bent over, the cards are being protected from UV, whether it's with the penny sleeves or the hard case card protectors. All of that comes with an experience within baseball. So even in the off season, if you have time outside of the gym or in another sport, getting into card collecting can help them, teach them the history of baseball. It can teach them the statistics. Card collecting can help them prepare for statistics, the design, engineering, the finances of card collecting, scouting, being able to identify through the statistics on the back of the card to be able to identify good players from maybe some of the less or the more average ball players. It is a part of the development for life to include card collecting with your younger youth. Don't let it get out of hand. Once again, that is the development that is responsible for the adults raising our kids. It's a village. So even if you go to local card shows, those individuals are going to understand card collecting. They probably have a background in playing baseball. So don't be afraid to talk, small talk of, what did you do before? Did you play baseball? What position? What got you into card collecting? Who was your favorite player? It helps them with communication. So again, being able to do research of the cards themselves, matching the numbers to the series, look at the Beckett or the market value of those cards, it teaches them for things that are going to be important much further in life. Development for life. So with that'd be video 8. Like I said, right after this, I'll go and start drawing up a whiteboard for video number 9, covering maintenance of equipment. So not only within the personal players' equipment, maintenance to the field, so on and so forth. We'll keep it more towards the younger youth players. They're not going to be the ones out there driving the tractors or being responsible for putting down grass seed, so on and so forth. But we're going to cover that in video number 9. If that interests you, stick around. We'll cover that in just a little bit.